They had me saying horrible things in front of other people. Nobody would have put up with that. It was totally, it's called disinformation. They make up a total lie. They put it out, then they do ads. So once he did that, I said, now I really, look, it's okay. It's okay, because now the gloves are off. I can say that this man is totally unfit to be president. Up here, he's totally unfit. He can't be your president. You know, I've gotten to know President Xi of China. I've gotten to know President Putin of Russia. And by the way, getting along with them is good. Although China, I must tell you, got a real problem with China. What they did with us, we can never forget that. We made a great trade deal. The ink wasn't dry when the plague came in from China. They stopped it from going into China, but they didn't stop it from going in to our country, Europe, and the rest of the world. Okay, they could have done that. But you see, I deal with all of these people, and they don't have the kind of mental problem that Sleepy Joe has. They're very sharp. Kim Jong-un doesn't know about the problems that Joe has. We need very sharp people, I'm sorry. Joe is not qualified for this position. Joe calls for abolishing cash bail and closing your prisons. He wants to close prisons. And he even called law enforcement the enemy recently. You saw that, the enemy, until his polls started dropping. Then all of a sudden he said, no, we love law enforcement. I think I've gotten every major law enforcement group in the country, right? I even got, you saw recently, I got New York's finest, and they are New York's finest, but they're not allowed to do their job. They're not allowed. We have a radical left mayor who has no clue. He has no clue what's happening to that poor city. I love that city. What's happening to that city? 300% up. Look, 300% in certain very bad crimes. New York. There's no reason for this. And we have the greatest police. They're great. New York's finest. They endorse me. Chicago. Fraternal Order of Police. Chicago. Endorse me. Oklahoma. Endorse me. Texas endorsed me. Florida endorsed me. Every place endorsed me. And if you think it's easy for New York and Chicago and these different places, Ohio endorsed me. If you think it's easy for these guys, they never endorsed New York. They said they cannot remember ever having endorsed a presidential candidate. They endorsed me. And they're going against their radical left culture that's destroying the city. So I was very honored. But how about Chicago? Do you think it's easy for these great police in Chicago to endorse me? It's not easy. But they felt that they had an obligation to do it. So it just happened. I'm just very honored by it. And Biden's anti-police crusade must stop. It's got to stop. It's got to stop now. Furthermore, the corporations, these poor, stupid people that run, they get paid a lot of money. They're weak, ineffective people, let's face it. They're funding anti-police organizations and other organizations that are, it's so embarrassing. And I don't mean for a little. Like, they gave $100 million and $250 million. You're talking about serious money. You're talking about serious money. And that money is not used for good reasons. And these stupid corporations, and they'll be the first to go if the radical left ever took. They'd throw those guys out like they were nothing. If they were lucky, they'd just be thrown out. It would probably be a lot rougher than that. These people don't know what they're getting into. But instead of giving money, they should give money to the families of the crime victims and the fallen officers. That's what they should do. So, in the Republican Party, we know that police officers are not villains, but the heroes who risk their lives to keep us safe. And they guard, the thing that's incredible, I know so many police, they're so good. One bad apple, and they're on for months. One bad apple, they go on for months. The thousands and tens of thousands of good things, nobody talks about it. These are great people that have done a great job, and we have to support our law enforcement. So Biden wants to appease domestic terrorists, and my plan is to arrest domestic terrorists. And we also believe that if you murder a police officer, you should receive the death penalty, and that's something that's very important.
An eye for an eye.
And you saw a video of that animal that went up to the car. Did everybody see that? This animal goes up to the car. Two unsuspecting fine people. They were supposed fine people. I mean, they're in very grave condition, as you know. Fine people. He's an animal. And I called him an animal. And I was criticized by people for calling him an animal. They said he's a human being. He's not a human being. He's an animal. He's not a human being. Joe Biden opposes the death penalty even for cops who, I mean, look, you have to see, even for these cop killers who go around, the predators, they murder children, people like the Boston bomber, he opposes the death penalty for the Boston bomber. He wants to give prisoners a vote. He wants to have the Boston bomber be able to vote. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. You know who started that? Bernie Sanders, Crazy Bernie. He wants to have... Crazy Bernie says, no, they have to vote. So they asked him, well, does that mean that means everybody that's in prison should be entitled to a vote, right? So they actually said, well, what about the Boston bomber? Should he be entitled? And Bernie goes, yeah, he should be entitled. Bernie is crazy, but you know, the fact is that we got a lot of Bernie votes 4 years ago because Bernie's right about one thing, trade. Because all of these countries, friend and foe, they rip off the United States. We have made so many great trade deals, and you see it. USMCA, we got rid of NAFTA, so many. But Biden is too weak to be president, and he's not a smart person. And by the way, he wasn't smart 25 years ago. Everybody knew it. Now we don't even have to discuss the
51 years he's been in office.
But I was going to say, when he put that ad up, we told him to take it down. When he put that ad up, that dishonored our fallen heroes. They are great, great heroes of mine, of yours, of everybody's. I know really bad people. No bad person. The worst person I know. I know some beauties from New York. I know some developers in New York, actually. Nobody would say what they said. They made it up. It was a made-up statement, and they put it up in the form of an ad from a third-rate magazine whose best friend is Obama, who, by the way, got caught spying on my campaign. He got caught. We caught him cold. We have him cold. Now let's see what happens. Now, the Republicans, you know, it's interesting. We have much better policy, but the Republicans, they don't fight like Colby. You know who Colby is. You're going to say hello to Colby. They don't fight like Colby. They don't fight to win. They just don't. With better policy, but they don't have that vicious streak. If this were reversed, they would be in jail for 2 years already, and it would be for a 50-year term for treason. That's what it would be. Okay? But Biden's too scared to stand up to the crazy socialists and never will. They'll never have the strength. And he's going downhill fast. It's going to be very interesting. And, you know, I called for a drug test because, you know what? I want a drug test because we don't want to have a situation like we could have with this guy. I watched him in debates with the other 24 lunatics. Right? And he was so bad. No, he was so bad. You know, maybe he'll win because they don't like me. They don't like my personality. But I hate to say it, I'm what you need. I'm what you need. But if Biden ever did win, he would surrender your country to the mob. You know that, and he will have nothing to do with it. It's not him. I mean, he's going to be pushed around. And she's, by the way, just so you know what you're going to get, she's considered far more liberal than Bernie Sanders. How about that? That's what you're going to have. I don't think your state is into that. Like Biden, always stand with the heroes of law enforcement. And I'm deeply honored to have gotten all of those endorsements. That to me is a really big deal. That to me is really a big deal. And I just want to thank all of them, including the National Troopers Association and Coalition. Just kidding. We all